Hi and welcome to another My Town Media opinion piece. My name is Brian Venton and I've called this topic The Hidden Agenda of Liveability. Mayor Jenny Hill of Townsville this last week announced her new liveability policy. According to the Townsville Bulletin, new libraries, road resurfacing and rates were her stated priorities. Evidently there's a 10-page policy document, but it doesn't appear to have reached the public domain yet. Mayor Hill, though, has done us a great favour by declaring her intentions for the next term. The word livability is a loaded term and its meaning is fully explained in the document she published as Mayor 4 years ago called the Liveability Strategy 2020 through to 2024. She states in that document that Townsville City Council has changed the way we operate to meet the future demands of our city. The days of simply dealing with rates, roads and rubbish are behind us, she says. The Liveability Strategy will provide strategic direction to deliver livability improvements across the city and measure, that's data harvesting, key livability indicators. Council's staged approach with this data will ensure we take the time with our internal and external stakeholders, that's another buzzword, to understand and implement change. So what is the change she's talking about? Mayor Hill defines the change as the new urban agenda. She says, the scale of the challenges in creating more livable cities and communities requires a strategic response. At a global policy level, the United Nations UN Sustainability Development Goals, adopted by Australia as a member of the UN, provides the overarching policy umbrella. All 17 goals, she says, represent key considerations in achieving livability. And by working towards creating livable cities, we directly contribute to achieving Australia's commitment to the new urban agenda. The Mayor's livability strategy is all about implementing these 17 SDGs, which are shown graphically in her document. Disappointedly, though, we never hear her talking about or debating the detrimental impacts that they will have on our city in terms of high-density social housing priorities and our lowering our carbon footprint by reducing our dependency on vehicular use, whatever that means. In other words, she's vested in developing Townsville as a 20-minute smart city. The Mayor talked about that in another document called Smart Townsville under the heading Placemaking and Livability. That document, though, as far as I can see, is no longer available on Townsville website for viewing. The Mayor's livable strategy document also states, and I never realised this before, but in Queensland the State Planning Policy, SPP, supports livable communities and dictates under the Planning Act of 2016 that local planning instruments integrate their SPP guidance material into current planning schemes. The Townsville City Plan, the Mayor says, is endorsed to comply with the SPP in terms of the state's interest in livable communities. The state government works with all local governments in Queensland to ensure the state interests are reflected in all local planning schemes. But note this, the Planning Minister provides the final approval of all these local planning instruments. So what are the SPPs? The State Planning Act describes another 17 areas where the state has a stakeholder interest in all Queensland planning decisions. One interest area being livable communities and housing. They are spelled out in a 299-page document called Integrating State Interests in a Planning Scheme, Guidance for Local Governments. It makes for interesting reading. These livable cities, according to the SPP, state new urban development is to be consolidated around existing settlements. Higher density development is to be encouraged in accessible and well-serviced locations. Now believe me, if you're not aware of it, that is a loaded statement. High density living is a recurring theme throughout the documentation. Our Mayor never tells us about the stakeholders who have an interest in our city, but they are like tentacles wrapped around our city and sucking up much of our available ratepayer funds for those agendas. Like steak knives, though, there is more. The Smart City Draft Strategy document states a key commitment of the City Deal, that's a reference to the Townsville City Deal signed back in 2016, a key commitment is to maximise the use of digital connectivity to improve service delivery through a smart city strategy. This is why from 2016 to 19 we had 300 cameras installed around our city and the Data Collection Centre was established. At the time, Mayor Hill described the purpose of the centre as part of our smart city strategy. Council wants to work and collaborate with innovators, businesses and residents on infrastructure like the data centre to allow our city to thrive in a digital world. Since then, another 400 camera installations have occurred. So, let me ask you a question. What is the relationship between the Townsville City Deal, the UN 17 Sustainability Goals and the 17 state planning policies? A data centre, 700 camera installs and a livable city strategy. I doubt that any of that will be fully explained in Mayor Hill's 10-page policy document. But I suspect it is more than just new libraries, road resurfacing and rate reduction. In the Smart Townsville document that I referred to earlier, Mayor Hill says we are working with the Department of Transport and Main Roads to provide council data to contribute to the transport mobility study to enable our 20-minute city goal. Now, what many of us don't realise, and I suspect many councillors are not aware of either, is that our council is actively harvesting and accumulating data sets on people movement and have been doing so for many years. That's what artificial intelligent technologies require. They need heaps of data to do analysis. Now, you and I know that we don't need 700 cameras to keep us safe. And we all know that that's not working in our town. Nor do we need that many cameras to protect council infrastructure. And the unanswered question is, do the cameras that have been installed all around our city have capability of harvesting biometric data as well? Are they being used for that purpose already? Or is there an intention to use them in this way as part of our Mayor's Liveability strategy? Do they or will they be used for facial recognition and movement control? Yuval Noah Harari, who is the lead advisor to Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, on the use of artificial intelligence and data collection, he's quoted as saying, "He who controls the data controls the world." Now that is a concerning statement. And for the concept of livability to work, harvesting of data is a critical component. It is not the data, though, that bothers me. It is the word control. That is the huge unknown. I'm wondering if that bothers you too. If you haven't realised by now, livability has many facets. And I suspect it's not just about rates, roads and rubbish or libraries. Mayor Hill and her team over the past 8 years have deliberately chosen to take this city down a different road, prioritising globalist agenda over local interests. And I suggest there is more to a livable strategy than we are being told. I hope you found this opinion piece helpful today. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again another time. Remember, things are not always as they seem. Vote wisely in your local council elections. Bye.